Hey guys, thought I'd give you an update on my lawn and what my plans are for this year with this lawn. So I want to just give you a little bit of an overview. We've got a few things happening. Now we have a very broken old fence behind all of these bushes, which literally died off many years ago with the previous house owners. And we had all these shrubs in front, and it's never been a major problem, but now we've got a second dog. This second dog, Tilly, she likes to get through and she likes to escape. So we've basically been patching things up over the last few months, and right over winter we've patched up with bits of fencing, bits of mesh, but it's time now to get a proper fence installed. So I installed that fencing that goes up the garden last year, and I want to carry the same fencing all the way down. It's about 10 or 11 panels, something like that. But the question is, do I take these bushes out, which I'm seriously thinking of doing? And we have a shed here which was here when we moved in. The shed is falling to pieces, it's rotten, it's got holes in, so I'm thinking of getting a brand new shed, taking all these bushes out and putting a fence in, and the shed will be moved to that far corner. It's got the tumble dryer in, it's got a fridge freezer in there, so it would make it easier for when we're in the house to come in and get what we need. And then potentially a second shed just for storage of general gardening bits and bobs. So once all that's been done, then we can get on with the general tidying up, the pressure washing, the repainting, the staining, whatever we're going to do, some anti-slip stuff, and then we have to think about the lawn. Now I want to talk to you about this lawn. I've got a few ideas. Now, before we talk about the lawn, we've got those two trees there, okay? And they were in when we moved in, and they've been fine, but over the last 3 or 4 years, the apples what they've been dropping have not been very good. They've been rotten, they've been falling off early, and it's not produced much at all. And even now, there's only a few flowers on the trees, and I'm not sure what to do. I've got an idea. I think it's because there's a lot of dead wood inside, so if we were to trim that back a little bit, it would theoretically mean that the juice, the sap, is then redirected to the flowering branches to create more fruit. So we could potentially save them. Now the other option is to actually take them out, and we're open to the idea of taking them out, and that would give more light into that corner. And when we get rid of the shed there and we get rid of all these bushes, we'll have even more light coming onto the lawn, so it's going to be better for the lawn overall. So that's my plans of what I want to get achieved in this part of the garden over the next 2 or 3 months. I haven't been able to do much on the lawn over the last couple of months because it's been our lawn renovation season, and with it being lawn renovation season, it has been incredibly busy this year. We've been working 5, 6 and sometimes 7 days a week, so we literally just haven't had the time. And this is always the case. If you're a plumber, you never get round to your own jobs. If you're a gardener, you never get round to your own jobs. They always don't, they're always the last priority, aren't they? So that's where we're at, and this is in the right state. So let's talk about it. We've got a lot of ryegrasses which have come back this year, so I'm seriously contemplating killing it off again very shortly and give it 2 or 3 weeks, and then we can do a renovation. But I want to get all this done first. I don't want to be dragging all of this across the lawn up to the garden to be burnt or composted or whatever we're going to do with it, especially when it's all been renovated and looking good. And also, while this is being renovated, I'm going to have to put a fence around to keep Madam there off. Hey Tilly, we need to keep you off because you're a little monkey, aren't you? She's absolutely gorgeous. She loves me. She always comes on my knees. Aren't you? Your daddy's girl. Tilly, Tilly, what you got? Anyway, so yeah, you've got the darker green areas there where the dog's been weeing. We can deal with that on an ongoing basis as we move forward. I'm not too worried, but I need to get it established first. So I'm thinking I'm going to kill it off again, because I don't think I've got the energy to dig it all out. It is prolific at the minute. You've got all the seed heads. Yeah, and look, there's lots here, and it's a lighter green colour. I've got a hole I've got to fill in, which is nothing. There's a hole behind that tree and a hole behind that tree where she's been digging. Got all the borders to sort out. And I know that once our renovations are finished in a couple of weeks, I will have time and be able to press on. But also this foot injury as well. It was about a week and a half ago when I got the injury. I don't know what I'd done to my big toe. My mum says it's gout. And I thought, well, maybe I've stubbed it or something, or I've just gone over it or something like that. After a couple of days of rest, it went away. But this last weekend we've been away at the coast and we did a lot of walking, and it's come back again. So I'm suspecting it just needs a bit more rest. So I've got to think about that while I'm dealing with everything else. So I've been a bit limited really in time. Anyway, so what we're going to do with the grass. I've got a couple of options. Option one, after we've killed it, because I am going to renovate it, is like just a dwarf ryegrass again. I like the colour of a dwarf rye. It's a nice dark green, and there are now some creeping spreading varieties, and I can cut it on a higher-ish setting and it's going to stripe up really well. Option two is a barenbrug grass seed. I think it's the same one that Daniel Hibbert uses, and it looks really nice, doesn't it? It stripes up really nice. So I've been thinking about that. I've never used barenbrug before, and I'm quite intrigued to give it a whirl and see what it's like. And option three is to do something that I've been thinking about for a couple of years, which is to go for a bent grass, which you can cut really short. And if we do the bent grass route, which is essentially the kind of things what they put on golf courses, if we go that route, then I'll bring some root zone in, very sandy soil, and we'll make a real concerted effort of getting this levelled out once and for all. Because even though we levelled it out a couple of years ago, things sink, you know, and little dips start to form. So I want to put a bit more into it this year. Now, because of all the renovations, it's taken longer to do as well. It's taken longer. What am I saying? These renovations have taken up a lot of time. So when we do the renovation, it's actually going to end up being past the window of ideal opportunity for me. Mid-May is usually my preferred cut-off time. If you're going to renovate a little bit later going into June, you've got to really keep your watering up high, up to 6 times a day for the month. And then once it's all come through, you can reduce it, but you've got to keep it up right through the year, because it'll look nice on the surface, but below the roots will be shallow. So they're my 3 options. What would you think? What are your thoughts? I know that the dwarf ryegrass, it needs a lot of attention. Not the dwarf ryegrass, the bent grass. The bent grass. Usually I cut it really short, but I fancy that. But you're going to have to mow more often as well, because if it's only a centimetre tall, it won't take much before it's grown another centimetre, and then if you were to cut that centimetre off, you're cutting 50% of that blade of grass off. So you are going against the 1/3 rule. So you have to mow a lot more regularly, probably 4 times a week, every other day, you know, maybe even every day. So there's that to consider, especially when you're busy and you're putting a lot of hours into work. It may not be feasible to maintain a bent grass. So that might be something that comes down the line. Hopefully I can free up a bit more time to do more on the YouTube channel a little bit down the line. So there's that, or the dwarf ryegrass, or the barenbrug. So there's the 3 options. If you've got any questions, comments or thoughts on this, please leave them down below. I'm all ears. It's so frustrating seeing this lawn how it is at the minute. It's doing my head in big time, and I'm desperate to get it all sorted out. Number 1, it's time, and number 2, It's just been so manic. So we've got a lot to do. Fair bit of expense as well. Like 10 fence panels, ripping all these shrubs out, a new shed, and also we have electrics going into that shed. The cable does actually run all the way down to the house, and so we'd have to get an electrician in to, is it a splitter, where they split the cable, and I'm sure they can do something with it so it redirects the power to here, and then we have power coming from the shed under the slabs and going into the summer house. So they'd have to sort of jigger it about, or whatever they have to do. So there's that to think about. So 10 or 11 fence panels, you know, it's going to be a few £100. New shed's going to be a few £100. And then once we've got a couple of sheds in here, then probably put something down there, some pebbles or something, some slabs, and get all the plants on there. Anyway, that's it. This was just a little chat video about my own lawn, just to give you an update, because I've had a few people asking what we're going to do. Right, I'll leave it at that, but we'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you again.